Okay, so I'm hoping if I do one more example that you can watch over and over again, that'll clarify some issues that some people seem to be having. So we're gonna do the first problem from the 5-minute check today. So in this case, we're looking at the square root of 14 and we're trying to figure out where that falls. So we use this table over here to help determine where these square roots fall. In other words, any square root that is in between the numbers shown on this table does not come out to a nice whole number. It comes out to a long, crazy decimal. So we can't get an exact answer. That means all you have to do is to be able to estimate what the answer would be. So to start with, step one is just to look at the left side of this table. I'm gonna isolate the rest because we don't need to worry about that for this moment in time. So when I'm looking at this side of the table, all I need to figure out is if the square root of 14 was gonna be in this table, where would it fall? So in other words, you can pretend for a moment that the little square root symbols is not here, it's not over here. So you're just trying to figure out which two numbers is 14 between. So hopefully right now you're saying that 14 falls between 9 and 16. So that means the square root of 14 would be between the square root of 9 and the square root of 16. So that, my friends, is the first two answers. All you have to do is write that right here, the square root of 9 and the square root of 16. As you can see, 14 is in between 9 and 16. And then from there, now we need to figure out which number is 14 closer to. Is 14 closer to 9 or is 14 closer to 16? Well, 14 minus 9 is 5, so it's 5 away from 9. And 16 minus 14 is 2, so it's 2 away from 16. So obviously it's closer to 16 since it's only 2 away. So that means on this third blank here, that's the next answer. So the square root of 16. So that is the first two steps. Step one was to find which two square roots the square root of 14 fell between. That was the square root of 9 and the square root of 16. So we wrote those on the first two blanks. Then the next step is to determine which square root the square root of 14 is closer to. That's where we subtracted. 14 minus 9 is 5. 16 minus 14 is 2. So 2 is smaller. That means it's closer to 16. So you write the square root of 16 over there. Now, once you have that done, the rest is easy. That's the hardest part. So now what we're going to do is, we're going to move this out of the way. We don't need this anymore. We can look at the whole table. And now you're just going to transfer the information from the table onto these blanks. So over here, we see that the square root of 9 equals 3. That means underneath the square root of 9, I put 3. And then it's the same idea over here. Could get rid of that to make it a little easier to see. So over here we have the square root of 16. So the square root of 16 is 4. That means I put a 4 right there. And then over here, it's the square root of 16 again. The square root of 16 has not changed its answer in the last 5 seconds. The square root of 16 is still 4. So that means I can put a 4 over here. So that's step 3. That's the second line that we just filled in. The last step is to use this information to graph the answer on a number line. So to do that, you can ignore everything up here in the top line. All those crazy square roots don't mean a darn thing anymore. All we care about is what we wrote in the second line. Oh, it's a beautiful box. Way to go, Pasquale. So this means that we're going to graph a point between 3 and 4, but closer to 4. So for this problem, I just need to focus in on 3 and 4, and then I need to put the point closer to 4 than it is to 3. So that means it would have to go on this side of the half line. It doesn't matter where, as long as it's somewhere between the half and the 4. And that will tell me that you understand that the square root of 14 is between 3 and 4, but closer to 4. So that's the last step. Use the numbers from the second line. That's these numbers here to graph the square root of 14 on the number line. So now, when you go back, you can follow these steps. Whatever the problem is that you're looking for, that's what you put. Instead of the square root of 14, you're doing whatever the next problem says. Okay? I hope that helped. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.